morning, namaskar.
Namaskar.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's indeed a privilege for me to share some of my thoughts with this kind of gathering. I have been in this business for 45 years or so. I have been talking to technical people all my life. Once in a while with some journalists, but thanks to CSC, thanks to Amit, and mainly to Madam Sunita, I don't know whether she has gone for a walk or something. I have got this opportunity to have a dialogue with you all in these pristine settings in Rajasthan. Amit has given us an overview, but before I start my presentation, I have 3 disclaimers. The first is, he said about 200 zoonoses. I'm not going to touch those 200. That will require a number of days. I will be picking up a few and sharing some things about those 3 with you. Second disclaimer, I will be using in most of my slides official data, either from the national government or from the WHO or any other international body. So that data would be official data, and no one knows it better than you. The official data are usually underestimates. So you can amplify the magnitude of the problem by looking at the data which is available in public domain. But the third disclaimer is important, which you use very frequently, either in the print medium, when there is an article or a piece, at the end it's written, the opinion is of the authors, and the magazine or the newspaper doesn't take any responsibility. So here also the opinions are mine. CSC, Sunita ji or Amit, they don't take any responsibility for those things. So with that, those 3 disclaimers, friends, I'll start and give you a flavor of zoonoses. Not a comprehensive presentation of zoonoses, but a flavor of zoonoses. And zoonoses are the diseases which move between humans and animals. And Amit just now explained that. But they move both ways. But we always are worried about being the selfish creation. We are worried about human beings, what we get from the humans. Zoonoses have been our past. Zoonoses are our present. And zoonoses would be our future. Now that should be the carry home message. Past, look at this plague thing. You all have heard about plague.
Yes.
The 3 great pandemics of plague which killed. The 3 great pandemics of plague which killed millions and millions of people, which I have shown on this slide, not only killed people, they changed the entire history of mankind, especially of Europe and the Middle East, where millions of people had to migrate. And some of you, I say most of you are very, very young, but some of you might recollect 1994 plague outbreak in India. How much social chaos was there? Only 58 people died. Compare that with the millions who died in good old days. Only 58 people died. But if you had gone to Surat or Meet in those days, they were like ghost towns. I was there for 3 weeks. And it was difficult for us even to find food somewhere. So that is the kind of thing which zoonoses evolved in past and in present. And do you know, and I'm sure some of you won't believe, the United States of America even today reports cases of human plague every year, year after year, around 7 to 10 cases in the USA. Of course, there are some other countries like Madagascar and others which are reporting. But then I'm just telling you, past, present and future of zoonoses is intertwined with the human nature and with the human lifestyle. Second thing again which you all have been talking about and listening, pandemics of flu, pandemics of influenza, and see how many people died, millions of deaths. Only in 2009, when we had H1N1 pandemic, God was very kind to us. only 18,000 people died across the world. Not many people died. The virus was not that much of pathogenic, so it was not causing many severe diseases. But look at the last bottom line. The genetic component of these 4 viruses which caused pandemics originated from animals. Influenza is a virus which is a fragmented virus. So it can interchange itself with animals, with birds and others, and come in the form of a new virus and then cause outbreak or epidemic or pandemic. Now that's what happened. But look at the number of deaths which used to occur in those days because of zoonoses. Now, currently, again, more than 200 zoonoses are well recognized, maybe more than that. Estimated number of cases globally, 1 billion every year. Estimated number of deaths, again by WHO, both these figures, 1 million every year, year after year. So this is our present. We are losing 1 million people every year in this world due to zoonosis. But then the question comes, why? Why are zoonoses persistent with us? Now what is zoonosis we discussed earlier? Humans, animals, and microbes or pathogens. And again, Amit had told you the population of humans and animals, and I'm just giving you the official population of animals in India according to the census of animals which took place in 2019 was 1.38 billion. We didn't have any human census since 2011, but the UN population estimates the human population in India in 2019 1.38 billion. So for every one human being, there is one animal in this country. And if you go to the villages, I'm sure you know it better than most of us because you have been doing your field trips in many villages. People live in close, continuous coexistence with the animals. Sleep under the same roof, share everything with them. They come in close contact with them. Most of the things are common to animals and the humans. So when there is so much of close contact, naturally the microorganisms will also move. So this is one fact that we have almost as number of animals as human beings, at least in this country. Second, how many organisms are there which can cause disease? Till today, it is known that 1415 pathogens, bacteria, viruses, fungi are the ones which can cause disease in humans. And of these, more than two-thirds are transmissible from animals. These are the known things. But the things which are estimated, they are the mind-boggling figure, and I'll come there. There are 320,000 viruses estimated to be circulating happily in wildlife. They don't come in contact with us, we don't come in contact with them, but they are happily living in their own ecosystem. Great. And of these, almost 20,000 are coronaviruses. Coronavirus, does it strike a bell? Your COVID, your SARS. Until date, man knows about only 7 coronavirus. Only 7. But look, more than 20,000 are circulating in the wildlife. And why I am emphasizing this thing? What are we doing to the wildlife? And I think we are at the right institution to talk about this thing. We are degrading the environment. We are degrading the forest. We are coming closer to the wildlife for our development agenda. But is it that too? Or are we coming closer to these viruses also, which can cause pandemics like COVID, like SARS, like MERS? That is a fact, and that will continue to happen. And this is another thing which is very important here, which is on your slide, on your screen, the bats. The most important creature which brings microorganisms from wildlife to the villages or at the interface of wildlife and the human habitation, and then to the villages, and then to the humans, and then to the cities. That's how it happens. That's how it has happened with so many recent outbreaks. So these are 3 things. Now we know the human population, we know the animal population, we know the microbial population, and we know the risk, potential risk, which is lurking in the wildlife of such a huge number of things. And when these 3 interact, then what happens? Amit talked about outbreak. smaller number of cases in a defined geographical area, and in Alwar or in Rajasthan or in some place, it starts expanding, it becomes epidemic, larger number of cases, larger geographical area, moves the country boundaries, goes to large number of countries, becomes pandemic. But in between, I have written one more word which you must have heard during COVID pandemic: Public Health Emergency of International Concern, PHEIC. Now, these are the things which have become extremely important in public health now. But what is public health emergency of international concern? Any serious, sudden, unusual, or unexpected event. Every word is important. Sudden, serious, unusual, or unexpected. Carries implications for public health beyond the affected area of that particular country or a national border, and may require internationally coordinated action. Then it is called public health emergency of international concern. Only WHO is authorized to declare a particular epidemic or pandemic as PHEIC, and that there is a long process. Today is not the time, but we can go into that detail also. Now, we are living in a very happy world, but if you look at the health emergencies during the current millennium, we have completed only 24 years in the current millennium. We had SARS, we had avian flu, we had H1N1, MERS in some countries, Ebola in Africa in some countries, Zika in several countries, Nipah in several countries, and then COVID-19 followed by Mpox. If you look at the time gap between these health emergencies, 2 to 3 years. So after 22 or 24 of Mpox, 26 or 27, we are already getting some kind of warning signs that next epidemic or next pandemic or next PHEIC is due, and we will come to those very quickly. Today is a time just to have an overview or a flavor, so we'll just go through these quickly. Now, what do these pandemics have done to us? Us means the humanity, to this world. Look at the kind of economic damage they have done. And friends, you know it better than me. The politicians, the decision makers in this world are not bothered about the human death or human misery, but they are definitely bothered about the US dollars. Where are we losing the money? And once you start losing larger amount of money, your attention goes to that side. Human life has not much of value nowadays. Anyway, that's a philosophical thing. So they cause a lot of damage. COVID-19 estimated is around 17 to 21 trillion US dollar lost in the global economy. Some people don't believe it, but then we have some more data, and I'll come to that. These were the global cases in 777 million. COVID-19, recent pandemic. India, we had our share of 45 million cases. Again, official data. Official data, the real data may be a little bit more or much more than this, we don't know. In India, we had almost 500,000 deaths due to COVID-19 during this period. But declining GDP, this is the official data from the Reserve Bank of India. In the first quarter of 2021, we had a decline in GDP in India of 24.4%, unprecedented since our independence. Unprecedented. And if you want to look at the number of the loss in GDP in lakhs of crores of rupees during 21, 22 and 23, as per Reserve Bank of India's official report, that's the loss that the country has suffered because of this. I'm just trying to tell you the magnitude that zoonosis can cause, impact they can cause, the damage they can cause to the human development and human economy. But then zoonosis is something very interesting, very confusing. There are several diseases which have not touched India, despite the fact that we are a fertile ground for these kind of zoonotic infections. And I'll just give you 3-4 names. MERS coronavirus remained limited to Middle East. SARS, 2 or 3 suspected cases were here, but we could confirm that they were not really SARS. So India was not touched by SARS. And why India? Do you now ever hear of SARS? 15 years back, everyone was talking about SARS, and now not even a single case. It has just disappeared. No one knows the reason. It's enigmatic, and that's what the zoonoses are. Yellow fever, very old disease in African countries. India never had a case of yellow fever, indigenous case of yellow fever. We have those mosquitoes, we have the population which is susceptible. We have a lot of people who come from Africa to India. We get a lot of dead bodies of Gujaratis from Africa who want to be cremated in India, who have died due to yellow fever. Yet, we don't have. Now, these are the enigmas in the zoonosis which we have not been able to explain. Perhaps GOK. GOK is an acronym I frequently use. God only knows why this happens. And I learned it from one of my teachers in medical school. When he will examine a patient, and he has to write down a diagnosis. So he used to write GOK. 10 patients, 11 patients, GOK. And then our curiosity came up. Sir, what is this GOK? And then he will say, I could not diagnose, God only knows. So that's the kind of thing that these are the things which have happened. These are the realities. But why these have happened in India, God only knows. None of the scientists so far knows about it. But then that doesn't mean we don't have zoonosis. We have plenty of zoonosis. Now here is a table. Ahmed talked about emerging, re-emerging, and those which are endemically present in the country with which we are happy living and will continue to live, and those for which we are at risk but we have not yet caught. Now, these are the zoonoses in India, but are they limited to some parts of India or are they reported from across the country? Now, here is the data, official data from Integrated Disease Surveillance Programs of the country, which shows that whether it is in northern India, northeastern, eastern, central, western, or southern, from every part, zoonotic infection has been reported during past 1 decade. So you have the cases all over the country. Okay. Now I'll come to a few individual diseases very quickly. Best friend of human beings. Everyone loves this kind of dog. But when this dog gets infected with rabies virus, this is what becomes. If you want to see the most horrible death ever, see a patient with hydrophobia. Most horrible death. You see it once and you can never forget it in your life. Those who are living in or around Delhi can go to ID hospital in Kings that have been Delhi. Around 200 or 250 deaths occur there every year. Very painful death. And you can see the death in the eyes of the person and the face of the person. But that's what is caused by an animal. In India, 17 million people die of rabies every year. And these are the people who are in productive age group, who come out of their homes either for their work or for their education or something. They die every year. And it has been happening for years and years and years. In addition to that, around 17 million people are given anti-rabies vaccines every year, which cost around 3,000 crore rupees. 3,000 crore rupees every year. This is the kind of financial burden that the country has to carry because of one zoonosis, which is 100% preventable disease. 100% preventable disease. Anyway, but that's what rabies does. Dengue, you all have heard about it. Dengue, but when we were very young, we never heard it. When I was very young, we never heard about dengue because it wasn't there. But then look at from 1960s onwards in Asia, South Asia, how it was spreading and how it is now. This is in 11 countries of Southeast Asia where I worked for a few years. Now it's across all 11 countries. This is how it has spread. Not only it has spread, it is persisting. It's not disappearing, and there is a reason for that. The mosquitoes which cause it, which transmit it, the Aedes albopictus and Aedes aegypti, they are very hardy organisms. They are not simply killed by your insecticide spray or something else. A country like Singapore has not been able to eliminate those mosquitoes. So you can imagine how tough that mosquito is, that it is defying those kind of things. The global population, now over half of the world is at risk of dengue right now. 14 million cases, 10,000 deaths every year. The best part is I should not use the word best part, but the number of deaths due to dengue is much less. Globally, it is 0.7%, and this is one area where India does better than other countries because our case fatality rate or number of deaths is less than 0.2%. So we don't know the reason once again, but we get officially around 50,000 to 200,000 cases per year. That's the data for last 5-6 years, and that's how the dengue cases are seen. And this is that culprit which I was talking about, the hiding on the Aedes. And these are the places where this mosquito breeds. आपने गाड़ी ली, गाड़ी का टायर खराब हुआ, नया ले लिया, टायर फेंक दिया. जहाँ टायर फेंका और थोड़ी सी बारिश का पानी उसमें आया, तो साफ पानी में ये मॉस्किटो ब्रीड कर. चलिए माना टायर बड़ी चीज़ है. You go to any village during the rainy season, especially in southern part of the country, in Kerala, we went there for chikungunya and dengue. The small bushes where one twig comes out from the main one and there is a place for 4 or 5 drops of water to accumulate in rainy season, this mosquito can breed there in the clean water. Now that's their beauty, that's their survival mechanism, and that's how they work. And they work not only for dengue, they work for chikungunya also. Same mosquito, same human being, the only thing the virus is different but related. So we have seen the outbreaks of chikungunya and dengue together, and this is a picture from Navsarpur in Maharashtra, where both chikungunya and dengue were circulating simultaneously. Again, you must have heard this thing. It used to be news every year, especially from Gorakhpur area of Uttar Pradesh. Children dying of unknown encephalitis. Large number of children dying. Now, a paper has come from our friend Dr. V. Ravi, and that has shown that there are too many organisms which can cause acute encephalitis syndrome, which kills kids below 15 years of age and has been killing for the last several years. One of the important reasons is the Japanese encephalitis virus, which started sometime in 1971 from West Bengal, and then has now moved across many parts of the country. Similarly, another virus, West Nile virus, they are all mosquito-borne, but they kill young children. But the best part is, if there is a political, commitment, then this disease can be tackled. If you look at the Gorakhpur data now, it has come down to almost from thousands and thousands of cases to literally in 2 digit or 1 digit. It has been reduced by 99%. And can you link Gorakhpur with someone?
Yeah.
Gorakhpur
The CM
is the place of the chief minister.
I am from Gorakhpur.
So that you would be knowing it better than us, because this incidence has now come down. And last year, 2024, not even a single death in a child less than 15 years. That's when there is a political commitment, when there is a political determination, everything can be in place, everything can work. See, we Indians have this typical quality. I read somewhere that God built this world in 6 days. If we had commissioned Indians, they would have done it in 5 days. So, if we are determined to do something, we can do things in a very nice way. Another cause of AES, leptospirosis, which is because poor water management. आप गाँव में जाइए पानी पड़ा होता है. Even शहरों में दिल्ली के छोटे कस्बों में चले जाइए गाँव पानी खड़ा होता है. उसी पानी में आपके जानवर भी हैं, उसी पानी में आपके रोडेंट्स भी हैं. और वहाँ से आपको एक बीमारी मिल जाती है, इसको कॉल्ड लेप्टोस्पायरोसिस. This causes AES, but this also causes jaundice. It is sometimes mistaken for viral hepatitis, which in reality is not, because leptospirosis is treatable with simple penicillin, whereas viral hepatitis has to run its own course. And see, this is the kind of thing. Human beings, animals urinate into this water, human beings go in, and through their feet and other, the bacterium goes into their bloodstream and causes the disease. Similarly, we have Zika and Chandipura in our country. Zika is a very bad disease. Again, India is a little bit fortunate, I give you the reason. Zika, when a pregnant woman gets infected with Zika virus, there are chances that the newborn child will have a smaller brain, microcephaly, which is not a one-time thing, which is a lifelong. So you just imagine having a baby which is not a fully developed brain, and you have to manage that baby because of that virus, Zika virus. Now this is the picture of that baby. The face, everything is fine, but head and the brain are much smaller. And we have just few cases in this country, but we don't have a case of microcephaly. Luckily, we have cases with fever, cases with encephalitis, but not with a child born with this. No officially reported case of microcephaly. India has been blessed from that point of view. So Chandipura is another thing. Another 5 minutes. Chandipura is another virus which is indigenous to us. Chandipura is a place in Maharashtra. It also causes acute encephalitis syndrome, and this is now again moved into different things. This again you must have heard as a forest disease. This is a virus which started from Shimoga in Karnataka and now started to this comes from monkeys, to ticks, and then it starts moving to other regions, and now it has been seen in different parts of the country that yes, this virus and this disease can be in different parts, but still limited to India. Still limited to India. This is Nipah, you have heard about it. Luckily, we have very small outbreaks, 2 big outbreaks in West Bengal to begin with, and then after that it's only Kerala part, and the Kerala part doesn't have many cases, many deaths, because now we have learned at the cost of life of this kind of health worker. She is Lini, a nurse who started taking care of the patient with Nipah in Kerala, and she herself died because of Nipah. It gets transmitted to the healthcare workers. So this is how these kind of things need to be handled. So we need training, capacity, infrastructure to manage these kind of patients. And POTS, bigger news nowadays, related to smallpox and chickenpox, but not exactly of that kind of virulence. They are the number of cases and deaths globally. 124,000 cases reported all over the world. India has also reported 39 cases with just 1 death. Luckily not spreading, numbers are coming down, so we are lucky from that point. Avian flu, good old days, 2005-06, you may recall that. But if you think that has disappeared, you are mistaken. This is in US. Currently, 2025, the US is grappling with H5N1 and is not ready for bird flu in humans. There are human cases also. And 159 million poultry have been culled in the US because of H5N1 in 2024. So the virus is there in a developed country like the US, and it can move any time from here to any other part of the world. AMR, I am not going to talk because Amit has talked about it extensively and talked about how the food chain also plays a major role into it. Somehow this is not coming full. We have someone from India today?
Yes.
2013 you came up with this issue with the cover page on antimicrobial resistance. Is your antibiotic sick? That was the cover page. And we were so impressed. I have been working on AMR like Amit, and we used to show it in many of our classes or interactions. That's the media is coming up. Time magazine came much earlier, Human came much earlier, India Today came in 2013. So that was a great thing. GBS was Guillain Barré syndrome. Amit talked about it, but it's not confirmed to be a zoonoses. By not too many cases, we don't know why it is happening, but there is a correlation with one bacteria, Campylobacter jejuni. So we are still working on it. Now come the question, last couple of slides or so. Why are zoonoses persistent? Large number of causes. I just give you these bullets. Microbial evolution, new microbes, variants of microbes, wildlife we talked about, animal husbandry practices, Amit talked about, socio-economic factors, climate change, developmental changes, poor water management, natural calamities, weak health system, weak response system, inadequate implementation of One Health. Sorry, it's not visible, but it is still unknown. We don't know the causes of many. And these are the pictures why these things are happening. We have the bats, we have the poor water, we have the natural calamities, we are destroying the forest. They are all promoting zoonoses in our country. And the answer is one health, where all three major sectors have to work together along with the communities to combat it. Is country doing something on it? We are not sitting silent. We mean the country is not sitting silent. There are several things which have been done. There is a National One Health Commission under the Principal Scientific Advisor to the Prime Minister, Standing Committee on Zoonoses, NCDC, National Vector Control Disease Control Program. So several things which are taking place in the country. But then what has been the impact of this? Last but one slide on it. Last but one slide. What is our state of preparedness? I think that's the question which you must ask. WHO, under its international health regulations, has developed some capacities which every country must have to combat the public health emergencies. No country has got 100% capacity. None. There are three ways by which one could assess it. One is self-assessment. WHO gave a pro forma. You feel it yourself how good you are. अपने दही को कौन कौन खट्टा बोल सकता है? जो भी दही बेचता है उसका दही तो मीठा ही होता है हमेशा. So same thing happened when we did our own self-assessment. We are 86% compliant with the international health regulations, and in zoonoses we are 80% compliant. Globally, the figure came to 64%. When a global health security index undertaken by US governments independent agencies, we were found to have a capacity score of 42.8%, less than half. So that's where we are. So that just means that much needs to be done to augment our capacity to respond to it. Well, friends, I will come to the last slide because you are all very keen of showing breaking news. So with this always comes on a television channel in between the serious talk also there is a breaking news. So the breaking news of zoonosis is that we are now coming across another virus related to the COVID-19 virus coming from the wildlife and has got affinity for human cells. It has been shown outside human body that this virus can ultimately infect human with no human case so far. It is still on the experimental stages when the same lady who worked a lot on COVID-19 virus isolated it from wildlife then bats, as we saw earlier, picked up the virus, put it into the human cells in the laboratory and showed that yes, it gets infected into the human cells. So that's what we are now thinking that perhaps this may come up. A new coronavirus identified in China as earlier, related to COVID-19 and first. How it evolves is uncertain. For that you have to watch this space for updates as they come. Thank you very much, friends.